how to be raw and authentic on social media and get paid for it. So I'll start by saying that in 2024, the world rewards authenticity. The world rewards authenticity in 2024. I remember, I always knew that to really supercharge my business, I'd have to start putting myself out there. This is a whole nother video, but I knew that getting my face out there and building a brand around me would be important if I really wanted to hit the levels that I wanted to reach. And I'm still not all the way there yet, but best believe I'm on my way. So I always knew that I had to put myself out there. However, I always had this problem. It's almost like this insecurity as to where I didn't feel comfortable putting myself out there, because especially with stuff like showing people how to make money on the internet and stuff like that, or talking about my business, because every time I want to talk about how to make 10K a month, there's another dude that's like how to make $1 million a month. And who knows if they've actually really done it, but there are people out there who are making more money than me. There are people out there who are making more money than me. And so I was like, I feel like that imposter syndrome would paralyze me. I always felt like I was full of it, even if I was actually making the money. And so there was even a certain part of me that was like, man, should I over exaggerate? Like, should I lie? Is that what everybody else is doing? Like, how are they doing this, right? Because I thought that, the bigger the figure you put up, the more impressive it's going to be. Or it's like how to make 6 figures a month, or how to scale to $1 million a month. Like, why would anybody want to click on my video of like how to make $1,000 a month? This is what I was thinking, right? Or like with hypnotherapy, there's people who are way bigger in the hypnotherapy space than I was. I was a nobody. And so I was like, why should I be showing people how to build a hypnotherapy business, for example, when there's other more qualified people out there who can talk about how to build a global hypnotherapy business, making 7 figures a year. And then, so that's what was going through my head. But then something clicked with me. When I was scrolling through YouTube, looking at how-to videos, let's say how to make money on the internet, I would always scroll past these people who are like how to scale to 100K a month, how to scale to 7 figures a month, because I was making, in the low 5 figures, so anywhere between $10,000 and $35,000 a month, right? And I realized that I wasn't clicking on the people who are like how to make 100K a month. I was clicking on the people who are like how I made $200 in my sleep yesterday, or how to make your first $800 a month passively. And you know why? At that point, I realized those resonated with me because they were more believable. They were more believable and relatable. Not that the 6 figures, 7 figures a month content is unattainable, but this is just more relatable, and it's raw and it's authentic. And those are the people, like that's how you build an audience from scratch. That's how you find your people. Not by making the least amount of possible and talking about it, but being okay with documenting what's really happening in your real life right now. That's the most powerful content you can put out, is what's happening in your life right now. Not what you used to do, not what you're gonna do down the road, but what you're doing right now and the struggles and triumphs that you have in that process and in that accomplishment. Document the small wins. And so when I realize all this stuff, that's when I'm just like, you know what? Let me just put myself out there as I am right now. No matter how much I'm making. Let's talk about the little small win I had in my business today or yesterday. Let's talk about the failure and the loss I had today or yesterday, how I lost a client or how I went broke or whatever it is. And those are the pieces of content that really resonate with people and get them to trust you, because this whole thing is about trust. Yes, you might act like there are people who are actually making 6, 7, 8 figures a month, but do you trust them? Maybe you do, but do you now trust them to help you get there? Or do you feel like they were a one-of-one exception, or that they got lucky somehow, or that they did something that they aren't necessarily telling you about? Maybe they came from money, or maybe they had a connect in the industry, or whatever it is. So you feel like subconsciously you feel like their process isn't that repeatable. At least that's how I felt. That's how I felt for most of these creators, and that's when they get the label of guru. That's when you get the guru label. And so I stopped doing that, period. And I'm just like, let me just talk to my people. Let me talk to you as if you're right here in this car with me. Literally, that's why I put the camera on the dashboard in my car, because this is the realest, most basic, stripped down version of me, where you really see me. Like, this is why I show the pay statements in the morning after when they come through, and I'm like, oh, I made $50 in my sleep last night, or I made $200 in my sleep last night. Like, this is really how my life is going. And just show us how your life is going, because if you want to get paid, yeah, you can build your business, and I'm sure you can do it quite well. But if you want to get paid in 2024, put your face out there and talk to people about what you're really going through moment by moment, because it might not seem like a lot, but what you're really doing is you're taking people along the ride with you. And that is how you build a cult. That is how you build an audience of true believers and true supporters, people who are going to invest in you. You don't have to hit the 6 figures a month or even the 10K a month for people to want to work with you, and for people to want to invest in you, or for people to want to pay you to teach them how to do it. There's a ton of people out there who want to go from zero to their first $10 a month passively. There's a ton of people who want to go to their first $100 a month online, or how to quit their 9 to 5. Not like how to quit your 9 to 5 and become a 7-figure entrepreneur. Like, you don't have to be the biggest, most finished product. You're never going to be a finished product. And that's what I had to realize. I'm like, oh shoot, Pablo, you're never going to be a finished product. And that's when everything clicked for me. And that's when I started feeling more comfortable about just talking about my small wins, because it's real. It's real. This is how I can come on YouTube and talk for 10, 15, 20, minutes at a time, half an hour at a time, without a script, because it's just real. It's what I'm really going through. And I don't care if you're going to laugh at this or not. I don't care if you judge me or not, because for every hater out there, there's a person out there who loves what you're talking about, because it's real and it's relatable. This is about trust. This is about relatability. And that's how you be raw and authentic on social media, and that's how you get paid. Because people don't buy. This is the thing that clicked for me. It's like, people don't care about who's most qualified. People don't care about who's most qualified, or who has a master's degree or the PhD, whatever it is. Nobody cares. What people care about, what people buy into, is your passion. Your passion and your confidence to say, this is how much I made today. Nothing more, nothing less. But I actually made it. And here's the actual proof. And then tomorrow I'm doing it again. Or I might not have made any money tomorrow. You might have made $0 tomorrow. But if you come on here and say, I made $0 today, this is what I learned, that is believable and it's relatable. And so you can't lose. You can't lose. There's two supreme benefits that come with being raw and authentic. Number one, you can't lose because you're not lying. You can't lose because you're not lying. Number two, when you are fully yourself, when you're fully raw and authentic and you're not trying to be someone that you're not, or lie about what you got going on, nobody can compete with you. Nobody can compete with you because you can't be duplicated. You cannot be duplicated. There's nobody going through what you're going through that looks exactly like you, that speaks exactly like you, who comes from exactly where you come from, who lives exactly where you live, who's going through the exact things you're going through right now. All those combinations of things, who's feeling what you're feeling right now, who's processing it in the way you're processing it right now. That combination of things makes you so incredibly unique and so incredibly powerful. The last thing you need to do to start raking in this bread is to just put it out there in a 10-minute piece of content to say, listen y'all, this is what I got going on, this is what I got going on, and here's what you guys can take away from it. Here's what I think you guys can take away from it. Let me know your thoughts in your comments. That realness is rare nowadays. In a world where everybody wants to fake it, everybody wants to seem like they've made it already. Don't be the person who comes across as too perfect. My whole life I tried to appear as perfect. And that's a law of power. Never appear too perfect. My whole life I was like, man, I gotta be the best salesperson in the world. I've gotta be the most well-spoken person in the world in order for people to want to work with me, or I have to have the nicest smile. I have to just come across in a certain way. No, you don't have to do none of that. You just gotta be you, nothing more, nothing less. In the things you like, the things you don't like, and the things you do stand for, and the things you don't stand for. Like, I talk about dating content from time to time because, listen, the younger me would have liked to see that stuff, but is this a dating channel? No. It's just how I'm feeling that day. It's like the rawest version of how I was feeling that day, and the best piece of advice that I could have given to my younger self. That's it. Take it for what it is. right? It's just me. You're just putting yourself out there and every aspect of who you are. And a mentor told me something way back in the day that changed things for me. She told me that so long as you continue to leave out parts of you and cut out parts of you and try and shape yourself into this box of whatever you think your brand is supposed to be, you're not going to be successful, because people will start to believe you and trust you and buy into you and want to sit down with you and pay you and ask you how they can pay you and ask you how they can get an hour of your time. When you start to show up as the whole you, when you start to show up as the complete you, that's when people will start to buy into you and believe you. It's not about being the finished product. Let's get this idea out of your head. Get that idea out of your head. It's not about being the finished product. It's not about being the richest. It's not about being the most beautiful, most handsome, the most successful. It's about documenting your journey. And this whole YouTube channel is just a documentation of my journey, right? I'm not the best content creator in the world, by far. I'm not the best business person in the world, by far. But everything I show you is real, raw, and authentic, and stuff I've actually done with a documented process as to how to do it again and again and again. And that's how I'm able to get the people I work with results, because I don't promise them anything more or anything less than I can get myself repeatedly and consistently. I hope that makes sense, right? I hope that makes sense, because really, honestly and truly, we all know who we are. It's just we're waiting for permission to be ourselves again. And that's what the corporate stuff does. It's like, it makes it not okay for you to be yourself. You get crucified and ridiculed for being yourself. In the corporate world, you get crucified for being yourself. There's things that you can't say. You can't dress a certain way. You can't look a certain way. You can't keep your hair a certain way. You can't express your opinions, certain opinions you might have of the world or of the workplace, because you will get fired. So you can only, you have to appeal to what someone else thinks is okay. That's what the corporate world does to us. That's why I'm so big on leaving your 9 to 5 as quickly as possible, because the moment you do, a lot of stuff happens, but most importantly is you settle into yourself again. And you'd be surprised, you will be surprised as to how many people are out there just waiting for someone like you to teach them, to mentor them, and to most importantly remind themselves that it's okay for them to be themselves again. And in all of that feel good that you're bringing upon other people, they will pay you and you will get rewarded. I promise you that. By orders of magnitude, you will get rewarded. You will make more money on your own. If you just follow this stuff that I put out every day, you will make, and if you join my school, the free one, hit the link in my description, you will make more money on your own than you ever did in your 9 to 5 by orders of magnitude. And that's also why mindset is such a big thing and why I built my business around mindset. My content is so focused on mindset because I've never made more money reading a money book. I've never made more money watching a financial channel or a financial YouTube video. I've never made more money like that. Have I gotten smarter about money? Absolutely. But have I ever made more money? No. How I've made the most money is by changing my mindset, by listening to other people and exposing myself to other people, whether it's online or in person, that make more money than me, or who are more raw and more authentic and more settled into themselves than I was. That's how I've always made money. It's not by reading the Warren Buffett books. It's not by studying anyone like that, the Elon Musk of the world. It's not by that. It's by being around people who have a certain mentality. This is all a mental diet thing. You consume the right diet, the right mental diet, you win. It doesn't care. I don't care how you go about it. It doesn't matter what business model you choose. It doesn't matter what business you start. It doesn't matter what you talk about on your channel. So long as you have the right energy, you're bringing the right energy to it, you will win. And right now, the energy that's going to pay you 1,000-fold is the most raw and authentic energy you have. Whether you feel tired that day, or you feel down and under that day, or you feel ecstatic, come on the internet and tell people how you feel that day, and tell them what's going on, and tell them how you're thinking about it. Tell them what you're doing. It's not a waste, really not. I would actually argue that content is the single most valuable investment you can make. It's the single biggest asset you can have and pour into. I would rather have 10 YouTube videos, 10 well-done YouTube videos, than 10 stocks in Tesla or in Apple, like a really, really good company. I'd rather have 10 YouTube videos. You know why? Because those YouTube videos are me. Those YouTube videos give people context as to who I am. Those YouTube videos can pay me way more dividends than any Apple stock will ever be able to pay me, or Tesla stock. Content is how you go. Content is how most people are going from zero to multi-millionaire nowadays. It's content. That's how you go from 0 to 100K a month. And I'm not there yet, but that is how people are doing it. Or you can start your own business, whatever it is. But if you don't have any business experience, that's going to be real tough. What you can do is just build a business around who you are, and you get paid for who you naturally are. And you know how to do that. That's something you know how to do. That's something you don't even got to practice. You just turn that camera on and put yourself out there and start talking about the things that matter to you. And people will trust you. And then they'll be when you know you're doing it right, when they hit you up and be like, man, I want to work with you. And then you just sell them an hour of your time. Start there, or sell them an ebook. Now you're the business. Wasn't that hard, was it? It wasn't. It never was that hard. I just had to get out of my own way. And part of getting out of my own way was like not trying to be something more than I was. I wish I had documented all the months where I only made $500 that month. I wish I had documented all the times where I only made $1,000 that month. I wish. Because now you guys would have been able to scroll all the way back and see the progression. I started at like 20,000, something like that. $15,000, $20,000. I wish I had started. I thought that's when I was able to start making YouTube videos, is when I hit the 10K a month. No, you can start at the $150 a month mark, or the $50 a month mark. That's more interesting. It's more interesting. How I made $50 today. That YouTube title is more interesting and more enticing, and people will want to click that more than how I made $50,000 today. How I made $50 is more enticing than how I made $50,000. Because now it's like, it's this form of entertainment. It's like, it's cool. It's cool. And people admire someone who's not afraid to put themselves out there. People love that stuff. How I made $222 today. People love that stuff. So put your small wins out there, and you will get rewarded. You will get paid just for being you. Just for turning your camera on a Tuesday afternoon and just talking about what you got going on.